Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will enter the world crafted in Anne Veronica by H.G. Wells. Anne Veronica by H.G. Wells, published in 1909, is a novel that explores themes of female autonomy and social norms. Set in the early 20th century, it follows the titular character, Anne Veronica Stanley, a young woman who yearns for independence and self-fulfillment in a society that restricts women's roles to domesticity and subservience. The story captures her rebellion against the constraints imposed by her family and society, detailing her journey towards personal freedom and self-discovery. Plot summary: Anne Veronica Stanley was a woman on the edge of rebellion. It was late September, and she had finally reached a breaking point. Sitting alone on the train from London, she resolved to confront her father that very evening, determined to make him understand that she could no longer live under his suffocating control. Anne Veronica had always been a curious, intelligent young woman, but her desire for freedom had grown unbearable. She wanted to learn, to experience life, and to explore the world beyond the limits of her suburban home. And she would do it, no matter what her father said. Her father, Peter Stanley, was a conservative man, a solicitor with a respectable career, who believed women should remain sheltered and obedient. His ideas about what was proper for a young lady were rigid and unyielding. He had already refused her request to attend the Imperial College of Science, dismissing it as unnecessary and unladylike. Instead, he had insisted that she continue her studies at the local Treadgold Women's College. Anne Veronica had tolerated this for as long as she could, but now her father's latest decree, that she could not attend the Fadden dance, was the final straw. As she walked from the station to her house, Anne Veronica rehearsed her argument. She had promised her friends she would attend the dance, and she refused to be treated like a child. But it wasn't just about the dance. It was about the life she wanted to live, a life filled with adventure, learning, and independence. The sheltered existence her father offered was not enough. When she arrived home, her father's letter awaited her. In it, he reiterated his forbiddance of the dance, citing her unsuitable companions, her inappropriate costume as the Corsair's bride, and the idea that she would stay overnight at a hotel with her friends. The tone was patronizing, and the letter offered no room for debate. Furious and defiant, Anne Veronica decided she had no choice but to act. That evening, she confronted her father, but their conversation quickly spiraled into a shouting match. He dismissed her as a naive girl who knew nothing of the world's dangers. Anne Veronica, equally stubborn, refused to back down. The argument was not just about the dance, it was about her entire future. Her father believed that as long as she lived under his roof, she would do as he said. Anne Veronica saw no compromise, only control. She stormed out of the room, her mind made up. She would leave home and live life on her own terms. The next day, she packed her belongings and left the house. Without informing her family, she moved to London, where she rented a small room and set out to begin a life of independence. Her heart was heavy with the knowledge that she had severed ties with her family, but her resolve was stronger. She quickly found work as a student assistant in a biology laboratory, where she hoped to expand her studies. But the path she had chosen was not without difficulties. In the bustling, unforgiving city of London, Anne Veronica discovered that freedom came at a cost. Money was tight, and her decision to live on her own raised eyebrows among her former friends. Even in the city's progressive circles, women living independently were viewed with suspicion. She attended lectures, broadened her horizons, and met new people, including Mr. Capes, a charismatic lecturer in biology. He opened her eyes to new ideas about science, society, and art. And for the first time in her life, she felt intellectually stimulated and respected. Despite her growing independence, Anne Veronica's situation remained precarious. A friendship with Mr. Ramage, a wealthy man with progressive leanings, became a source of trouble. At first, Ramage offered Anne Veronica financial help, but his generosity soon took on a more predatory tone. He attempted to manipulate her with promises of financial support in exchange for her affections. Realizing that his intentions were far from innocent, Anne Veronica rejected him and narrowly escaped a dangerous situation. Disillusioned by her experiences, she found herself questioning her ideals of freedom and independence. Was this the cost of living as a free woman, financial insecurity, social ostracism, and the threat of men like Ramage, she struggled to reconcile the reality of her situation with her dreams of an emancipated life. Her thoughts often wandered back to her father's house, to the security she had left behind, even though it had come with stifling restrictions. Through it all, Mr. Capes remained a constant figure in her life. Their relationship deepened as they spent more time together, and Anne Veronica found herself drawn to him in ways that went beyond intellectual admiration. Mr. Capes, though married, reciprocated her feelings, and the two entered into a romantic relationship. For Anne Veronica, this love was both liberating and troubling, as it conflicted with her desire for complete independence. Could she be truly free if she gave her heart to a man? As the months passed, Anne Veronica became increasingly torn between her ideals and the reality of love. She loved Mr. Capes, but she feared that a relationship with him would trap her in another form of dependence. At the same time, she knew that her intellectual and emotional connection with him was unlike anything she had ever experienced. In the end, Anne Veronica had to make a choice. She realized that her journey toward independence was not about rejecting all forms of connection or love, but about finding balance. She could love Mr. Capes without losing herself. She could carve out a life of intellectual and emotional fulfillment while still holding onto the freedom she had fought so hard to attain. She returned to her father, not to seek forgiveness or to submit to his authority, but to assert her right to live life on her own terms. The conversation was tense, but for the first time, Mr. Stanley saw his daughter as more than a rebellious child. He saw a woman, strong, intelligent, and capable of making her own decisions. Though their relationship would never be the same, Anne Veronica knew that she had finally achieved the freedom she sought. That's a wrap, but the journey doesn't end. Explore more books by H.G. Wells. You'll find the details in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in H.G. Wells's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.